the guy we all have been waiting for. We've been reading, he's back, and finally he is back. Mr. Arvind Swamy. Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big round of applause, please? Sir. So completely over to you guys. Please ask whatever you feel like.
Well, I don't look at it as a comeback per se and plan it like that. But the script was interesting to me. It was actually it had something that was that put me out of my comfort zone in a sense, and I thought therefore it would be challenging, and I wanted to do this.
Did you prepare for this role, or did you draw upon your experiences as a father for this?
I just did the general preparation that I normally do with every film, which is to question, the lines that the character says, or the way he reacts or responds, etc. And then you start building a framework, and then you act within that. So just my regular process of how I prepare for a role is how I prepared.
Last question from me. What was the reason for keeping away for 15 years from Hindi cinema?
Not Hindi. I didn't act in any movie in any language for the last, I think from 2000 was my last film with Mr. Maniratnam. After that, I didn't. I had quit films because I wanted to do other things. I had started out very early at 20 when I did Talabadi, and 21 when I did Roja. And I thought, I didn't want to get just caught within this one profession. I wanted to experience other things. I had other ideas. I wanted to do other businesses. So I just went ahead and explored all that. And about maybe 3 years back, Mr. Maniratnam had wanted me to come back and do a film called Kadal in Tamil, for which I came back. Till then, I didn't act not just in Hindi but in any other language. The first part, which is it's just a Hindi film. We didn't do it in any other language. There's a lot of change, of course. Time brings about change, including in me. It brings about it's brought about a lot of change in the way the audience in itself. It's the next generation of film goers who are watching it than when they were watching it in the 90s. This audience is more receptive to new ideas. They've already had a lot of visual experiences in terms of the internet or an exposure to world cinema in a sense. I believe that they're more receptive to new concepts and new ideas, and they don't want the conventional movie structure that we've been having since those days.
सवाल ये है कि are you in touch with your Bollywood colleagues? You have 2 days time, so are you gonna meet anybody in these 48 hours?
Did I meet somebody now since I came here, you're saying?
Yeah.
I met Mr. Anupam Kher. We just happened to meet yesterday. But I'm actually a pretty solitary person in that sense that I don't have many friends within or outside the industry. I just keep to myself. So
Do you watch any Hindi film in last 3, 4, 5 years, or any particular film, any particular actor?
I don't watch too many films in any language, in Tamil, English or Hindi, but I have watched a few.
So what was the specific reason behind not doing movies in last 10, 12, 15 years?
To me personally, this is not the only thing that I want to do in my life. I want to do other things as well. So I had some ideas on certain businesses, some technology, some applications. So I was doing that in different parts of the world. And then I wanted to be a full-time parent and balance my life and time with my kids. So that happened. So for about 10 years, my primary thing was just to raise my kids. I play a lot of video games online, so a lot of my time goes in that as well. And I also do movies.
So now when you see those shots between 2 mountains, you are sitting and Roja Janeman and Hamma Hamma and Kuchi Kuchi Rakma, what क्या feel करते हैं? How you feel all those shots while doing on seeing now?
Well, I can still appreciate those shots. That's the good part of doing some films. I think even after 20 years, you can still see and enjoy those films, or at least most parts of it. So, I'm just look back. I'm happy that I did those films.
कोई ना कोई तो सॉलिड रीज़न रहा होगा फिल्म में वापस आने का या हिंदी फिल्म करने का, तो मैं जानना चाहूँगी कि डियर डैड आपके लिए क्या है। और
नहीं, ऐसे तो मैं प्लान नहीं करता हूँ कि मैं हिंदी फिल्म करूँ या तमिल में करूँ। मुझे सिर्फ अगर एक स्क्रिप्ट अच्छा लगता है तो मैं आई जस्ट एक्सेप्ट दैट. Sorry, that's as much Hindi as I can. I will be sitting here all evening if I keep talking.
Okay with it.
So, you know, there was when you watch the film, you'll know that there was something that was pretty complex about the story and the situation that these characters are in. And like I told the gentleman before, I was extremely out of my comfort zone when I read that. To a point where I didn't know whether I wanted to do it. Then it made me realize that because I'm so out of my comfort zone, I need to do it, because I think that is where the challenge for an actor is, to be out of his or her comfort zone. Otherwise it becomes the easy thing that happens. So right now, like someone said, my second innings, if you can call that, even in Tamil, for example, I'm picking up scripts and roles that are that maybe people don't expect out of me, that maybe I'm not 100% confident that I can do as an actor, and therefore that quest for trying to be convincing in that role makes the whole process for me more interesting.
जी, एक और सवाल था, पिता और बेटे के बीच रिश्ते की बात करती है ये फिल्म, तो आप अपने निजी ज़िंदगी में अपने पिता के साथ किस तरह का रिश्ता रहा है, और कोई ऐसी चीज़ जो आप चेरिश करते हैं और हमसे शेयर कर सकते हैं?
ज़रूर. My father was very strict with me, in a sense that he was not a very approachable parent like how I think I am with my kids. I mean, with me they can joke and they can talk and all that. And I used to go for every parent teachers association meeting for my kids. But I don't remember my father coming even for one PTA meeting or even stepping inside my school. That generation was like that. It was okay. I think now it's more hands-on parenting. To me, my father was very inspirational. He was also involved during the last part of the freedom struggle. So I had a lot of inspirational stories. He was in Calcutta at that time. And then he is a self-made man. He came from a small village down south. But, by the time I was growing up, he was one of the very well-known industrialists then. And he came up the hard way. He worked himself up. Had a lot of... so I was brought up with a lot of love and respect for this country and for the freedom that we all have today, etc. So that was my environment, that environment that I grew up in, and it was thanks to him. And this film, just to go back to the thing about, it's not the story of a father and son. I know the relationship deals with these two primary characters, but it's actually, it's like a journey where this man he knows the direction in which he wants to go, and I'm talking very metaphorically at this point in time, but it's a journey that he knows, it's a direction that he knows he wants to go, but he doesn't know the final destination. And during this process, it's about, say, confessions, it's about conflict, it's about seeking understanding. I'm not saying forgiveness, but I'm saying seeking understanding. So, hopefully it moves towards a resolution amongst these characters. It's normally when things like this happen within a family, you don't... there was a line there which said that, I don't care what other people think. What matters to me is, tum mere bare mein kya sochte ho. So that actually is what happens within families, right? If there's something that goes wrong and you want somebody to understand, you're not concerned then about what other people are thinking about you. It's just that you want the people that you are close to understand your situation or your dilemma or your problem or whatever it is. So I think it is that. It's not, it's not a regular father-son kind of a story.
Arvind, hi. Of course, we have seeing you today feels a little nostalgic because we have memories of Bombay and Roja. But of course, here you are with a new film after a long time in a different avatar. Tell me, this film is about a father who is trying to make his kids aware about his orientation, which seems to be the issue. Seems like if you talk about gay characters, then they are out in the closet as far as Bollywood is concerned, and the way it is being tackled now. Was there a slight tennis match in your mind before taking up this particular role? Did it require some sort of convincing?
I'm just going to talk about what's in the trailer at this point in time. In terms of, you're reading too many things into it, which I will not comment on. It is a situation where he seeks an understanding from his family, his son, etc. Like I said, there were some parts of the story and the script which was extremely unusual, but at the same time, I know for a fact that there are people and families in similar situations like how these characters were, and since it put me out of my comfort zone, like I said, it was important for me to do it. Yeah, no, I mean, if you notice, if you look back, since you said, you were nostalgic, I need to go back also to those days. None of those films shared a standard commercial format. In fact, somebody asked me today, why are you playing a dad? So I said, in 93, when I was 22 or 23 years old, I did Bombay, where I was a dad of twins. So I never thought of all these things as images or whatever. And as you all know, like Roja and Bombay were hits across the country. After Bombay, my next film was with a director whom I really respected called Bharadan in Malayalam. I did a movie called Devaragam. So I've not been somebody who's, thought of what commercial progression for me as an actor would be, etc. It's important for me to have an experience that I treasure, I value also, and hopefully, take the audience along with me.
जैसा आपने कहा कि मतलब इतनी सारी चीज़ें ऑब्जर्व की जा रही हैं, बहुत सारी चीज़ें हो रही हैं, तो क्या उम्मीद करें कि राइटिंग या डायरेक्शन में भी आप जा सकते हैं आने वाले वक्त में?
Yes, sir. Even in my 20s, I used to keep writing scripts and irritate Mr. Maniratnam with those scripts. So, because he's the one who taught me from the director's line to everything else, along with Mr. Santosh Shivan. So, I used to keep writing storylines and scripts and keep wasting their time in those days if I look back. So, I've continued that habit. I still write, stories and scripts, and I have a couple ready to shoot, which I may, if as soon as I get time, maybe end of this year, next year, etc.
तमिल सिनेमा या साउथ सिनेमा में बहुत सारा कई हिस्सों में ऐसा हुआ रियलिस्टिक फिल्में बनती रहीं, लेकिन बहुत ज़्यादा मसाला फिल्में ही बनती रहीं. आप एक ऑब्जर्वर के तौर पे कैसे देखते हैं? अगर
Are you telling me that Tamil cinema makes a lot of masala films? And
ज़्यादातर
No, sir. Actually, I feel that there's more progressive cinema happening in Tamil. Not to say that Hindi doesn't. Hindi also, I think, has created a lovely niche market, and you have a lot of films which are, different from the conventional structure. But actually, Tamil has a lot of films that have actually that come up, and in fact, if you don't have something interesting or different in your film in Tamil cinema today, it's not very readily accepted in a sense.
तनुज, आपके लिए जैसे अगर फिल्में आइडिया माने,
I think you've seen a lot of these dubbed films. The dubbed films are the action films which will normally get dubbed, but there's a ton of films that, like for example, I don't know if you saw Kaka Muttai, which won the national award. So a lot of those kind of films that happen in Tamil cinema, which we are proud of. Sorry, you were asking.
तनुज, एक आइडिया है फिल्म में, तो आपके लिए आइडिया क्या था? और आप इतने यंग हैं, तो क्या आपकी ज़िंदगी से जुड़ा कोई बात है, कोई ऐसी चीज़?
हाँ, ये मैं देहरादून में पढ़ता था. I studied in the Doon school. So from time to time, my father used to drop me from Delhi to Dehradun. So the movie comes from a very personal space. It comes from the time when you are driving together with your father to school, and you can't have that conversation which you want to have with your father, and there are those awkward silences and moments during those things. So this is where the whole idea of the movie came from, and I just elaborated on that, and it worked out. It's a mixture of all those, if I were to be more precise about it. It's the coming of age of the kid. It's a road movie where the father son interact with each other. It's also a movie about understanding one another while you are going towards a journey.
Hello. Excuse.
I think this film has a very different audience. और आज ऐसा टाइम आ चुका है कि ऑडियंस तो अपनी फिल्म के चॉइसेस उस दिन जब 6 फिल्में दिखती है फिर भी चूज जो उनको देखना है वही कर लेती है. एंड वी ट्रस्ट द ऑडियंस टू काइंड ऑफ मेक दैट चॉइस. आई थिंक दैट शुड नॉट बी दैट बिग अ प्रॉब्लम.
Yeah, excuse me, Arvind sir, you're doing a Hindi film after almost a gap of 15 years. So, is there any nervousness in you? Perhaps how will the audience react to the film and your performance and something like that?
Not really. I mean, in the sense that the same nervousness that I have for a film in any other language, I have the same nervousness for this as well. I mean, it's good nervousness in a sense that I hope they see what we saw in the script.
No, sir was the first choice of the film. The moment we sat down to brainstorm about it, my casting director Anmol Ahuja, he came up with the thought of having Sir. And even at the back of my head, it was like, I remember Sir in Bombay Rosa. But if we can actually get him was the question. But once everybody decided, like, let's go with it, we approached Sir, and it was a cakewalk after that, actually.
Arvind, here, straight. Here.
Yes.
You were quite a rage after Roja and Bombay. What was that turning point in your life which made you walk away from this fame that you had at that time?
See, actually, I never wanted to be an actor, and I was a reluctant actor. But the process of making the film was what I really enjoyed. The attention that came with success was something that made me very uncomfortable. I was not prepared for it. I was not ready. I was in my early 20s at that time.
But you never enjoyed that success. Are you trying to say that?
I enjoyed the success. I didn't enjoy the attention. Okay. I mean, I want you to see my film, but leave me alone. It's like that. So, it's like if you think all your life, you think that you want to be a star and you want to perform, etc., then that is something that you would enjoy. But I was very unprepared for what came my way.
So adulation was something that you really didn't enjoy.
To know that
you did have a lot of female fans also. I remember, especially after Roja. And if you could just go back to those days and remember how was it like?
It was very stifling for me. So, like, it was not something like if I came out and saw, let's say, 100 people standing, it would make some people happy and proud. It would make some people want to run back into their house. I belong to the second category. So it is not that I didn't respect it. I respected it. It's just that I didn't know how to deal with it at that time. And I thought it was, as a lot of the other movies started coming, it was only getting bigger, and in a sense that it was, I felt that I had that window of time to make a choice and do things in my life that I wanted to do, and kind of feel comfortable again in a sense. So I did all those things that took me to that point, and now I'm very comfortable. I'd like to meet and greet people, but personally I think I'm a bit of a recluse, so those two things don't go together. So.
Censor board has become a bit tough these days. Any issues with the censor as far as this film goes?
It's not my problem, actually. So.
Yeah, I mean, the director...
That's the producer's problem, right?
It's a very sweet family film. It is just meant for a mature audience, but it doesn't have anything for...
So is it UA? What is the certificate that...
We're still certifying.
Okay.
Yeah, for the kid we had a couple of auditions. We had a few, and Himanshu, finally the one we picked, he nailed the audition perfectly. He brought with him that naivety of youth, that kid who is just growing up and is that doldrum age where he can't understand what's happening and what he wants, and that maturity which comes after he understands where his father is coming from and where he is headed. So yeah, he perfectly nailed it at that point.
I want to ask a question. So, we know we have a rough idea about the complexity that the film has. So, is it because of that complexity that you didn't think of it an option for Tamil films, or is it
Not really. It was meant to
unrelated?
be a Hindi film. It was not meant to be a Tamil. Like for example, and I also believe, see, in those days when I used to act, and once Roja and Bombay became successful, what used to happen was every film that I did in any language used to get dubbed in other languages. And you're not making the film for certain audiences in a sense, not because of the subject or not because of all that, because visually it's different, right? I mean, you're working with actors and co-actors who are speaking another language. There's no lip sync. Everything goes. It doesn't look like a straight language film in a sense. So unless you're making it like a bilingual, and these guys didn't have a plan to do that at that point in time. I'm very clear that any film that I do now in any direct language should not get dubbed in other languages, because I feel then the audience sometimes does not know that it's a dubbed film. Then they see a lot of things that are a little alien visually or even audio wise, whatever. It doesn't look like a straight film. So nowadays at least you can contract and things like that. In those days we couldn't, or we never thought of it in a sense. So there was no plan, I think, to make it in Tamil. Yes, sir. No, sir, it's age. So, like I told you, sir, I was not ready in my 20s. I didn't know how to. I just wanted to be left alone. Like even my entire career, I think from 90 to 2000, in 10 years, I did only 3 photo shoots. That too, I was compelled for a couple of them. And interviews also, I used to hardly, I think 4 or 5 actual interviews. The rest were all taken from old interviews or clippings, etc. and used. So I was, that was my comfort zone. I didn't want to interact. It's not about being friendly or disrespectful. It's just that I didn't want to do it. I was not comfortable. When I look back now, I can, obviously 20 odd years have passed, and I can look back and understand what the problem was then. Even now I'm very reluctant, but I'm more comfortable to interact. இப்போ ஒரு தெலுங்கு படம் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கேன் சார். தனி ஒருவன் ஒரு படம் வந்துச்சுல, தமிழ் பார்த்தீங்களா நீங்கள்? தனி ஒருவன். ஓகே, தனி ஒருவன் படத்தை இப்போது தெலுங்கில் பண்ணிகிட்ருக்கோம். அது முடிச்சுட்டு இப்போது போகன் ஒரு தமிழ் படம், போகன் ஒரு தமிழ் படம் பண்ண போகிறேன். அது பிரபுதேவா தான் ப்ரொடியூஸ் பண்ணுறாரு. Yeah, so he was asking whether I'm doing other Tamil films now, doing other films. So I did a film last year in Tamil called Thani Varvan, which was a very successful film. So that was being remade in Telugu. So that is something that I'm doing now. Once that is done, I'm doing another Tamil film called Bogan, which is being produced by Mr. Prabhudeva, a director called Lakshman. I'm kind of doing some films for this year, so if at all I do something, it has to be probably closer to next year. Sorry? I have a few scripts that I'm still reading. I take my time. So.
Arvind sir, talking about Bombay and Rosa, here, left, yeah. Yes. Are you still in touch with your co-stars? I mean, Manisha Koirala or anybody?
Yeah, I did meet her a couple of years ago when she had come back from New York. That's about it. Apart from that, I met Mr. Anupam yesterday. Like I said, I don't have too many friends. So. Actors can express their views. I think one of the things that we must understand about patriotism is that the Constitution gives you the freedom of speech to express yourself. If somebody is not comfortable and they're expressing themselves, then it doesn't make them a bad person or doesn't make them unpatriotic, etc. I think we all must learn to make sure that we respect people's views. Whether they are saying something that is saying something that they're very comfortable with, or saying something that they're not comfortable with in something. So I think it's everybody's right to express themselves. I have no personal view on that. Roja, yes, it was not me. It was Rishi Kumar was falling on the flag. Yeah, but I did feel very privileged to do that scene. But I don't think you should mix up Arvind Swamy with Rishi Kumar. Because
what's the reaction of your kids and wife, to your on-screen appearance?
Actually, all these years, my kids have not seen any movies of mine, even the old ones. I remember, I think it was on Independence Day or Republic Day, one of the days, they showed Roja, which they used to keep repeating in a lot of the Tamil channels. And my daughter walked in and saw this exact scene where I was falling on the fire and then people were beating me up. And she started crying. And then after that, she refused to see any of my movies. This happened when she was very young. So I also didn't force them to see any of my movies. So Tani Urvan, which I did last year, was the first film that actually my son saw, and he thought I was very cool because I was the anti-hero in that. So he liked that a lot.
अरविंद जी,
यस सर,
साउथ के कई कलाकार पॉलिटिक्स में जाते रहते हैं, तो क्या आप भी पॉलिटिक्स के बारे में सोच रहे हैं फ्यूचर में?
नहीं सर, आई एम वेरी एपॉलिटिकल पर्सन.
Release it internationally along with the Indian release. So
Arvind,
very difficult, sir. All the films are close to my heart. Bombay was something that Bombay Roja, of course, was movies that I really liked. I liked a film called Devaragam, which I did with Bharadan. Movies like Pudayal, Tani Urvan were all, and Kadal to me was special also because that was the first movie that I did after 12 years. So. Yeah, that is a different father. This is a different father.
Arvind, Arvind, how difficult was it for you to face the camera after such a long gap? Was it difficult for you? Like, can you describe the first day of your
first day? Yeah, to be honest, I had a little bit of doubt as to whether. By the time I had decided to stop films, as an actor, as a movie actor, you're hitting the zone in a sense that you know when the shot is right and you know what you've done, right? Here I was a little unsure as to whether I still remember that, whether I still got it and all that. But I didn't want to see the monitor because I was not used to seeing the monitor for reconfirming whether things are okay. So my fight till today is always with the monitor, not with the camera. Since I try to avoid, unless I have a doubt, I don't try and go there. But it wasn't too much. It was just a couple of hours, and then after that, it just started. It was like back to normal.
Arvind, are you following Bollywood movies for all these years? Have you followed?
No, sir, I don't watch too many movies. Even Tamil cinema, I didn't see after I quit. For about 7 years, I don't think I saw any Tamil or Hindi films. उनकी मर्जी, अगर वो चाहती है तो ज़रूर. I won't stand in her way or his way. If they want to do it, surely they must. I've given them the freedom to choose whatever whatever topics they want to study, whatever they want to do in life, they're free to do. In fact, I don't even tell them to study based on a profession. Like my son, for example, loves physics and mathematics. So I tell him, I said, don't worry about the rest of the subjects. Whether you don't have to say I have to do maths, physics, chemistry, something for engineering. I give all the wrong advice. So I tell my son, I said, you like physics, just study physics and other subjects that you want, and you can always study something, in a subject that interests you. I think a lot of our you asked me about something else I've already answered. I don't want to keep talking.
No problem. I would just also like to invite Raghav and Arjun, the music directors of the film. And after Bombay and Rosa, the music of both the films have been so famous. So we are hoping Dear Dad also becomes one of them. Please, Raghav and Arjun, ladies and gentlemen. आप लोग photo खींच सकते हैं. We'll get the stools away. Yeah.